What's up, Sassy Gamers? Today is April 21st, 2022, and this is Got Our Attention Podcast, Season 2, Episode 45, Special Edition, live from PAX East, actually, PAX East 2022. So here we are. Brian is still touching things, so my face went dark for half a second, but we're good now. Apparently, I am part of Ghost Recon. I didn't realize, so we're good. But hey, I'm actually here with Phoenix Nova, actually live from PAX with me, Phoenix Nova. We're in the house. We also have Demiran and also Daydrinker ATL from Atlanta reporting. So yeah, this has been an interesting time. We, for one, this is our first live stream from like an actual event like this, in a sense of like literally, if you see behind us, like we're at the Omni Hotel right now, which is right across the street from the PAX convention. So a lot of people are here kind of resting. There's some gaming going on behind us as well. There's a bar literally within reach, which is actually pretty dangerous, to be quite honest. And he's got my card, and we're going to like do a tab or something. I don't know. There was like this concept of like you keep my card and I just get drinks. I don't know. It's weird. Something about we pay it later. I don't know. It's weird. Anyway.
That's weird. That's a tab. That's a normal thing in a bar.
I know.
It's not run a tab before.
Calm down. Calm down. He's had a little too much to drink tonight, obviously. He's way too
right
much.
over his head.
Yeah.
Please.
But no, it's been a good show.
I'm just flabbergasted that an accomplished drinker like you does not understand the concept of running a tab.
Yeah, so we have a lot of interesting things to talk about today about PAX East. And again, like I said, we're live. If you have questions, if you're out there and you want to like ask us things about what's going on here, feel free to do that. I'm hoping to hear the same from Demiran and Daydrinker, because obviously why not? But usually we get into Kelly's Corner first, which is something that we love to do. But apparently not today, because
we're just
Kelly
skipping
said,
right over it. Yeah,
we're not even doing Kelly's Corner today.
No.
Because why not? Like, let's just talk about PAX.
Yeah, that's all I want to hear about. And the first thing I want to hear about is meeting the Skyrim Grandma.
So that's an interesting thing to talk about.
Hold on. I have to start this off. As we meet a tab. Oh God!
Stop touching the laptop. You're doing too much. He just has to touch things.
Oh my God!
He's all about touching stuff.
Okay, so here, pull this up so we can see chat.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
so I'll start this off. I always show up a day before PAX, get anything set up that I need to, like making sure I have my passes, making sure I have proof of vaccination, which they do with a wristband. I check out the floor, how they're building it. And because this was a first PAX for some of the people with us, I took them with me. I then turned around and about fell down on the floor because the Skyrim Grandma, 85 years old, Shirley Curry, was standing not too far from me.
So it's interesting is I literally like, so I didn't stay at the same hotel, so I walked in and I gave him a call. And I was just like, hey, like I'm here. It's the day before. It's like nothing's going on in the convention. Just like sign up, getting your wristband, getting things like that. All the prep work, like if you're a member, a vendor, and or a content creator and you're not like in already, like this is the day to kind of get your stuff together and kind of move on. And so I give a call and I was like, hey, where are you at? And he's like, and I was like, oh, I already see you. And before I could like finish the sentence and like hang up, he's like, and I'm standing in front of Shirley. And I'm like, Shirley,
I was like, get your butt over here right now because I've been telling her about you and your wife who loves Skyrim. And she is like, if you go and watch her YouTube channel, which I suggest you watch it and subscribe to it, as well as ours, she is extreme. She's just the exact same way in real life. She's super kind. That. Oh. She's super like attentive. She wants to hear what you're saying. She very much is part of the conversation. She's very sweet. And we were able to talk to her for a little bit. I was able to introduce her to Mike. We got pictures with her.
Yep, I'm actually going to.
Yeah, I mean, she was totally exactly what you've seen online. She actually went into the Skyrim thing, like, so Brian asked her a couple of questions about Skyrim, and she was like, Oh, well, like which playthrough are you talking about? Because like, obviously she's played many playthroughs of Skyrim. So
Yeah.
so it was really interesting on that, and she's very like it really felt like we knew her for a long time, and like she just kind of gave us her opinion about the different like parts of Skyrim that we had also experienced, and like and actually recently I've even like read some stuff that people had played for the first time, and it was like really interesting to see those different parts. But she was like totally cool about it, and
Yeah.
took a picture with her, and it was just a good time. And
Her
actually,
son
it's
was there, and her son's really cool, and she talks about him occasionally as well. He's super attentive and really supportive of his mom, which is
yeah.
awesome.
And it was cool because like we've actually ran into her like multiple times so far at the convention, and this is day one, really, technically day one. And each time we're just like, hey, and she's like, oh, hey, how's it going, guys? Like we're just, and we wave and we move on.
Or sometimes we just let her do her thing and we just walk by even though we've seen her.
I know we've seen her a lot of times at this point, which
Yeah,
is
she's
kind of
super easy to
strange,
pick out, so we don't want to bug her too much, right?
because there's a lot of people here. Like,
But
don't
yeah,
get me wrong.
again,
Like,
we
it's a
got the
larger
picture
thing.
up on screen now,
Yeah.
where we're standing next to her, and again, this was before PAX. This was the day before PAX even started,
Yeah.
and we were already like just having fun with people that are showing up for this convention.
And this was her. She's the one who tweeted this picture out, which I love.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which was also really awesome. Like I obviously I actually tagged the wrong person because
in our
like
tweet.
so she has different handles on Twitter versus Instagram, and I actually tagged the one I thought was it, and I actually looked at the page and everything, but apparently I still selected the wrong one because I'm an idiot. So I tweeted it out. I was like, oh my god, like we were awesome. It was awesome to meet you. And within like 15, 20 minutes, she did the same thing without even like us like talking to her about this. Like she just did it. And she was like, oh, and check out their podcast. We're like, oh, cool. Like I didn't expect that at all. And it's been really cool. Like it's just, it really, to me, being the first time here, like it's kind of really set up my experience for PAX of like how everyone here is like family. And it really is. Like everybody here is like very much on the same page, into the same things. And it's really like a family. Like we always kind of bond the same way.
Along those same lines, Mike, since you're already talking about that, you've already talked about how you feel like family, even though this is your first time, very inclusive. Tell us a little bit more about your impressions this first time at PAX East.
So, again, yeah, first time at PAX East. It's a really good experience. I'll say like I haven't been here obviously in the past, so I don't know what to compare it to. But I do know other conventions like Dragon Con and like MomoCon back in Atlanta that have like a crazy amount of people. Obviously more pop culture, not really narrowed down to just like the gaming aspect. But you see a lot of things, and coming here, there's a couple different specific differences, and just in the sense of like this is a convention center, so everything's kind of laid out in more of a modular sense, which is not bad because like when you go to Dragon Con, sometimes like trying to find a room of like interview that is a panel like in the basement of like the Sheraton, you're like, where do I go? Like you walk into some like other thing that you didn't want to be a part of, and then you're like losing your religion or something. I don't know. But no, it's like the same thing here, except there's a lot of there's all the different panels. There's also a lot of, like I said, modular, like different indie developers side by side with like tabletop developers side by side by vendors, and then just like other like publishers too. So on that sense, it's really cool. And being that there's not a lot of people, this like well, I say not a lot of people, not a lot of people is like they've had in the past. So it's really cool to kind of walk around, talk to the developers, and see some of these like these younger and smaller indie developers be able to have a moment to kind of shine because we don't have like the towering like Microsoft or like the towering Nintendo to kind of take in that window, which is really cool. Like the largest thing here I think is Intel, and then side by side of that is like Discord, just because like obviously Discord, right? Like we're using whatever now, but yeah, it's a really cool experience. I'm excited to see as the week plays out, like what other things we'll get into. But just today, like I mean, we've already experienced a lot of different things. I don't want to just rush into all of that, but it's been really cool so far.
Well, kind of a quick summary is we're able to walk the show floor. We're able to talk to several developers, possibly, and no promises, but possibly set up some more interviews for the future for our viewers. And then even like we were able to check out a panel at the very beginning of the day of an amazing woman, and you like, and I encourage everybody, but Day Drinker, you should check this out as well, because you can check this out on PAX's Twitch channel. Alana Pierce, who from a very young age decided that she wanted to be in video games, and she had a passion for writing.
Well, video game industry, not like in, like she didn't want to have like her character.
And she worked her way through several things, including, I might have to change a battery here in a second, but including like working at IGN and Funhouse and a couple of things like that. And to the point where like she now works for Sony Santa Monica, who is, you know, one of the developers of God of War. And cool. She had a great kind of, they call it story time here at PAX, and a great speech about like just how she got into the business and stuff like that. And that's how we started our date. It was so amazing. It was so inspirational. Cool. And then I'll change the battery. Don't worry about that. Or maybe I won't. I probably won't. My batteries are upstairs. So like no video for me anymore.
Oh no.
I'll just share with Mike's.
It's fine. Keep talking.
So yeah. So that was kind of a cool way to start it. And then we went on, like I said, we talked to a couple of developers, and then we left PAX entirely and went to an offsite.
Well, you're way too far ahead. Slow down. Back up. Slow down.
You take over for a bit.
So, any other questions, Kelly, before we move on with just the experience?
No.
Anything you want to like point out on that? Or Bruno, I guess you're here too, right?
Yeah.
Hey.
I get. I think as part of the experience, you'll probably talk about some of the other vendors that you met and other indie dev studios and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. So, one of the other interesting thing was. So we went to Voodoo Ranger, which is obviously a beer. Like,
I don't know if it's beer. Obviously,
when in Boston,
yeah.
why not drink Voodoo Ranger?
Everybody out there knows exactly what all the beers are. Voodoo
Ranger.
Yeah,
it's Boston and Sam Adams, right?
It's practically the same as Molson Canadian or Corona.
Yeah, basically same thing.
Except it's a lot freaking better.
Yeah.
No,
so what was interesting is we went to the Voodoo Ranger booth, and while there, like literally, so like this is a more of a dry convention. So coming from like Dragon Con, where you like basically party your ass off until like, yeah. So it's I say dry because again, this is a convention center, right? So like they have certain rules that like they have to go by. Even if like the convention wanted to do that, like the convention center says like here are the rules you have to abide by. So with that, like they have Voodoo Ranger as one of their sponsors, and they in the food area they set up an area where you could have like their beer, which you have to pay for. It's still a bar, but whatever. And inside their Voodoo Ranger area, they actually had Able Gamers set up. And I'm actually wearing an Able Gamers hoodie at this point. It's like a rain jacket, whatever. And so I walked up to their booth and was just like, hey, guys, like, it's really cool to see you guys. Like, I've done charity events for you guys in the past through Tiltify for Shocktober, and it was just a pleasure meeting you guys. And they were like, oh, my God, like really cool. Thank you for like doing that. And like, so we like introduced ourselves like, hey, like we're part of SAS Gaming. Like we do this thing. And literally like one of their marketing guys was like, oh my God, I've seen your fish. Like I recognize this on the Tiltify page for like Able Gamers. And I was like, that's really cool. He was like, dude, just here, just like here. You want a pin? You want a wristband? Yeah. You want the dice? Like get whatever you want. Just take it. Just take whatever you want. And I was like, all right, cool. So, so I started collecting all that stuff. And then on top of that, like he said, like there were some obviously like some hoodies for sale and stuff, and obviously 100% of proceeds go to the charity event. So I decided to like go and pick one of those up, and it was just awesome. It was just it's a really cool experience. Like you talked to them for a while. This guy he's basically a newer marketing person within their industry, not new to the industry, but just new for them, and they're really trying to grow and push like their brand to kind of be known for more than just normal like streamers. Like they want to get kind of like a street level credibility too, because like. I mean, obviously they help out kids with disabilities that aren't typically able to play games. So being able to like kind of meet people like us and meet them, it kind of gives them a lot of better of initiative to be able to like move things in different areas and different markets that they weren't able to get into before. So it was really cool. We chatted for them for a while. I mean, it's like that's day one. Like that was like midday. Like we were like basically taking a break, having a beer, and it was like also more things to talk about. So it was really interesting.
That's super cool. That was one of the things I was like, oh my God, I like sort of fangirled about it. Like, I was like, what? Able gamers? What?
Yeah.
Like,
You think you
'cause
fangirled, yeah.
I know. So, for those of you who maybe joining us for the first time, Able Gamers, like Mike was saying, is a charity that helps to develop controllers and accessibility for people who have disabilities to be able to play games, video games specifically. And every October, we do a Shocktober event where we try to get Mike to shit his pants.
Shit my
Hold on.
pants, essentially, is what you're
Yeah.
trying to say, but, you know.
Yeah. And he raises money for the Able Gamers charity. So everybody watches Mike and we pick out like some really scary
And
video
it's,
games
to
for
be
him
clear,
to
it's
play.
100% proceeds go towards Able Gamers.
Yeah.
Nothing
Yes.
comes to us. All we're
Yes.
doing is trying to raise awareness and obviously raise money for those in need. And that's basically it. And it was kind of cool talking to them today. I can't really say a whole lot, but basically, like, we're going to keep in communication, like potentially be able to do some things outside of just streaming, just to kind of
Awesome.
like keep this going. So more to that to come as time goes on. But yeah, it was a really cool thing to check out. Like I said, we were just having a beer and apparently like also talking to like one of the greatest charities that I love to support. So it was awesome.
That's so cool.
So, what are the vendors like?
So coming from like what you're saying, because I know what you're saying, because like I know you as a vendor with Savannah, having your own type of like thing. The vendors are pretty awesome. And why I say that is because everybody's on the same expo floor. Like there isn't like with Dragon Con, there's like multiple like rooms. There's an art room, there's like a vendor only hall, like there's all these different like areas where people get kind of like pushed into a corner. Whereas here, everybody's on the expo floor, and even with that, like they're kind of pushed into, or not even like, I'm sorry, they're not pushed in to like certain areas. So like you'll be seeing like an indie developer doing their thing, and the next booth may be something that's like just literally like a vendor selling things.
Wow,
And
cool.
even with
That's
that,
interesting.
but even with that, it's not like I've seen in Dragon Con, which is one of the things I don't like, is that there's multiple floors of like the same vendor. It's like the same person selling the same, you know, backpacks and, you know, gear. Whereas here it's like this person's like selling a really cool like video game that is produced by like a publisher. And this person's selling some of like the handmade bags. And this person, it's like everybody's kind of unique in that sense. So like even having like people who are just like vendors in the sense of like selling things only, they're not selling the same thing over and over.
Even having like this vendor that does dice, and then a little bit further down another vendor that also happens to have dice, it is literally so different between those two that you don't feel like you're seeing the same thing again.
Yeah.
I mean, you're
gotcha.
seeing this.
So, unlike those other conventions like Dragon Con, PAX seems to have a rule where you can't be the same entity selling on multiple, like selling in multiple
Right.
venues.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's definitely not a
Okay.
case here.
Each entity is represented a single time. So, you know, even though it's two people that may have dice, this one is pretty much only dice, and the dice are made from like gemstones or and
Jeez.
you know, like other stones and metals. And this one is like, oh, they do the normal plastic dice, but they're also selling card games and some other stuff and stuff like that.
Which is
So,
great. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Like I can literally give an example from Dragon Con. Dragon Con always has a weapons vendor there. It's got multiple, but there's one specific weapons vendor that always has 2 to 3 locations that are all actually controlled by the same person. The one on the middle floor last year had all the same stuff as the other 2 floors, but the other 2 floors were exponentially higher in cost to trick people into going to the middle floor and already buying an overpriced item. So you'd go and you'd like, let's say you're gonna go get Frostmourne from World of Warcraft. Downstairs it'd be like $675. But then in the middle floor, it'd be like $400, which if you looked online, it was like $280. So
Right, like nobody wants to go up the
trick you.
stairs.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
No, the idea is to trick you. You look at it and you go, "Oh, okay. Well, this it's 600 or 700 down here, but it's only 400 on the middle floor. So I'll just go buy it from there because it's way cheaper."
Which is still
Oh
double
my
price
God.
than what they're used to, right? Yeah.
Another difference between the two, and again, I love Dragon Con, maybe not as much as Mike does, but I do love Dragon Con. But one of the things that can be, I don't know, divisive with the vendors is a lot of time you see the vendors that are selling stuff that could be considered kind of infringing a little bit or a
Oh,
lot. Like doing artwork that really isn't theirs just because they can draw it. Uh, I'm not trying to like impinge on their talents or anything like that. But one of the nice things here is like there's none of that. This isn't like just random artists that are trying to sell their stuff. This is indie companies that have their own individual essentially IP that they're selling.
yeah.
So you're not walking up to this like booth that has a whole bunch of like bootleg drawings of Marvel characters. That doesn't
Right.
exist here.
Yeah.
And again, I love Dragon Con, and there's plenty of awesome vendors there that do not do that stuff.
Right.
So I do not want to say anything. There's nothing negative about Dragon Con. It's just
I'll
it's a different
say-
feeling.
It's a different
I'll say
situation.
there's not a lot of like artist vendors in the sense of like illustrators,
Yeah.
because like the ones that are here are the ones that have basically done the art for like some of the games, or like they do game
Oh,
mats or
cool.
something different.
Yeah.
So it's not just like art style where you'll find like a bunch of artists that are just like, here are all my drawings and here's like my IP. Like they don't really do that here necessarily.
Right.
But the ones that are here that do like their game mats, or like even like the storyboards, or like here's a an actual painting that I did of like this game that we're selling. Those are really neat to look at. I mean, it's kind of like that.
I will say, with reference to what Brian was talking about, in the Dragon Con Artist Alley or the pop comic section, a lot of those artists that you see that look like they're selling bootlegged artwork, it's really worthwhile to search them up, because our first time there, I initially thought the same thing. But what I ended up finding out is a lot of them actually work for those comic book companies.
Oh
They
wow!
actually have a lot of DC pop and culture comic books.
Okay.
Like the girl who does Squirrel Girl goes there. She draws a lot of
Yeah,
stuff.
she's been
and
there a
people
few
think,
times.
like,
Yeah,
oh man, is that ripped off? It's like, nope, she's actually the
She is the
creator and
artist, yeah.
Whoa,
There's
that's
a lot
cool.
of Star Wars artists there.
Fair
and they're
enough.
actually licensed Star Wars fine arts painters or comic
Yeah.
book artists, things like that.
And in no way did I want to imply that everybody was bootleg, because I know that's not the case. I know
But it
there's
is an
there's
issue
some
that
le-
exists for sure. Because
Yeah,
we've seen it
there's-
at Anime
there's-
Expo, we've seen it at MomoCon. I mean, Anime Expo 3-4 years ago was when what is it? Funimation showed up with a lawyer, and they just went to all the booths and shut them all down.
Whoa, that's serious.
Yeah. So
Yep,
yeah,
they'd be like,
there's
"Licensed,"
there's
and they'd be like, "You don't have
absolutely
it? You're shut down. Goodbye."
Whoa.
there's absolutely legit artists there, and a lot. So and I don't want anybody to be, again, it's nothing negative about Dragon Con. I'm
Yeah.
just saying it's a different flavor. And then kind of like what I was saying a little bit earlier, then we left the convention. We went offside PAX to a event.
an hour early.
I went
be very
early.
clear.
Thanks for pointing that out.
An hour early.
I'm like
I
trying to
mean-
market. I'm like
I mean,
talking to these people,
listen.
giving them a card. Like we're having a good conversation. He walks up, and
Listen.
like, we have to go right
You're
now.
either
Like come with
on
me if you want
time
to.
or you're late.
I mean, we were on time. We were like
Yeah.
really
You
on
either-
time.
yeah.
Like, it was-
No,
Yeah.
but so in all seriousness, what we did is we went to this offsite event that was happening around the time. It was called Made in MA. So it highlighted people in the Massachusetts area that were making things. Anything from students doing a capstone project to already established studios that, for instance, maybe we've done a game of the moment like called Drake Hollow.
Drake Hollow.
And recently that studio being acquired by, I don't know, CD Projekt Red. So we actually got to like see all these interesting Massachusetts area people
That's really
And-
cool.
and kind of like talk to them. And some of them were like people that were officially part of the event. And some of them, there we go. Wow.
Nice.
Drake Hollow. So some of them were like just Massachusetts people that had showed up for the event and also were interesting to talk to. some people that are in the cosplay section of things. So it was really interesting to see all these different sections of gaming and pop culture industry, as
It
it
was
were.
it was really funny. I walked up to this one booth and this guy was standing there. He's like an indie dev like by himself, and I see a kid playing a Steam Deck, and I look on the table and the Steam Deck, all the case had was Valve at the bottom, and I was like, "Is that a developer kit?" And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Oh," I was like, "Mine has just like the Steam Deck logo in the middle. Yours has like just Valve at the bottom. That's cool." He's like,
Oh.
"Oh," he's like, "It's different." I'm like, "Yeah." So he's like, "Actually, yours is probably better than mine."
He
So
legit
it was really
had
cool.
a Steam Deck dev kit, which was freaking awesome.
But
Which my man got to play on.
yeah, I didn't play it for a while, and his fan is a lot quieter than mine, I will say.
Oh,
I don't
really?
know what version. I don't know like what series he got, because obviously there's 3 series. I don't know what the developers got, but his fan was like obsolete compared to like what I have. Like, so I'm like, yeah, there's definitely a
telling you, I am breathing rarefied air here, sitting next to the man who has played both on a dev kit Steam Deck as well as a production Steam Deck. Not too many people get to say that.
Yeah, that's true. He likes touching me. I don't know what it is. Like this
I
whole
know.
convention's been like touching.
You
I don't know if
can't
this is
see
like
me
a
touching him
maybe
now.
this whole PAX thing was like some sort of like initiation or something that I didn't realize. Like he's been all about that recently. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, right.
But no, it's really cool. We've met.
It's
There was
day
actually
one.
a booth that I walked up to that they had a mobile game like on a little mobile tripod, and it looked like Hearthstone. And I didn't say that because I was like, I'm not gonna walk up to your booth and go, "Hey, it looks like this other game." And so I walk up and I'm like, "Oh, that's cool. Like, like what do you guys do?" And they're like, I'm like, "So a game? Like, what's the name of the game?" They're like, "It's Hearthstone." And I'm like, "Oh, it's like, yeah, like we do, like they're doing the battle mode. Like they're actually creating the battle mode for this, like to expand
cool.
on that." So I was like, "Oh, okay." They're like, "Yeah." I was like, I didn't want to say it because like it looked like Hearthstone, but it was like it was actually the game. So. But there's like a lot of cool things like that. There's like a lot of niche artists that were here.
Yeah.
Like actually, My Friendly Neighborhood. So remember the game of the month we had, My Friendly Neighborhood. So the developer's not here, but the publisher is.
Okay.
So we got to go by their booth and talk to them, let them know how we felt. Like it was awesome. Like, and they had some other games there going on that the publisher had released, and one of their developers was there. So we're going to talk to them eventually.
Okay, I'm not sitting here trying to make Day Drinker all jelly.
Too late.
But this publisher is all about, across all of their developers, about the spooky.
Oh, I love it.
And like Mortician's Assistant is one of the other games that they had there, of which they did have the developer, which my partner actually had played the demo before. And we watched someone else play, and they were doing something and they jumped. Like, we're in the middle of a convention center. We watched this person jump while they were playing on a laptop. It was amazeballs. So, yeah. We got to get the whole crew out here.
Yes.
It's a lot, like I said, it's a lot different than like the conventions that I've been to in the past. And again, this is day one. I don't know what is in store for the rest of the week. But even last night, like just being at like the hotel afterwards, like the after party of like the non-official day that wasn't anything going on.
Yeah.
We met a lot of interesting people last night too, just being at the Weston Bar and just hanging out and kind of talking. And they did their thing and we did our thing, and it was great. Like it was just it was a cool like changing of like experience of like why they were here, why we were here, and like what our common goal is, because obviously our common goal is to come together, go to PAX, and like have a good time and see things that we haven't seen before, and like eventually do all that. So it was just a really cool thing. I would say like obviously like I want to do this again in the future. Hopefully it'll work out again in the future, like be able to do it again. But it's been great. It's been a good time.
Nice. That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Any new games coming out that you guys are excited about?
So I played a few games. Well, I've played one game. Played one. Actually,
I begged him to play more.
I actually sat down and played one game. That's all I've done today. I was like, I'm not going to do too much.
Tomorrow.
I wanted to
Dragoon.
get through the week.
Dragoon, you're excited about.
So,
you didn't play that.
Right. I haven't gotten
It's
there.
a board game.
So I did play one game. And it's like escaping my memory right now what the actual game is called. but it's an RTS, and it's based on like
Strongholds, Warlords.
Stronghold Warlords, yeah. And it's based on like ancient Japan, like civilization, and it's an RTS where you're like basically you have a civilization, you're trying like almost like Age of Empires-esque. Like you have a civilization, you have your army, but they introduced the strongholds where like there's other like factions out there that you can like either take over or try to side with, and basically I was like, I'm just gonna go through and just like.
So Strongholds is an established game series.
Okay.
Warlords
Firefly
is their,
Studios.
Yeah, Firefly Studios. Warlords
I'm trying
is
to pull it up so others can see
Firefly
it, but the site is just spinning. So
Warlords is their newest iteration, and one of the things, like I'm terrible at RTSs, right? And one of the interesting things, talking to the developers, again, that's one of the great things about going to PAX is a lot of times in the indies you get to talk to the developers. Talking to him, he's like, "Oh yeah," he goes, "Because I said I turtle and I research." He's like, "I do the same thing."
Yeah.
He goes, "I love doing that. I love just going through the research tree, and I hate it when people attack." And he goes, "We actually were able to put some things into the game to assist those that are turtling, to allow them to survive a little bit longer, to put up stronger walls for people that were attacking them." Yeah. And I was like, "Oh, that's so cool."
Yeah, like so I said, I played that. We talked to them for a good minute, and just get their take on the industry and how they felt, and they were like super excited about us playing it, and especially having somebody like, and I'm not saying like crazy, but like just like me who actually is into RTS, like does something like that. So that was really cool. Another game we actually checked out. I actually get to play this one, and like I said, I didn't really play a whole lot today. I just kind of watched and kind of like sat in the corner and watched like from a distance. But no, we actually checked out Chernobyl Light. It's a game that came out about last year. Today, actually, it dropped on the next gen or the now gen consoles. So PS5 dropped today. But it basically takes place in Chernobyl back in the 1986, like when the catastrophe actually happened. And it's basically like the story of Igor, that's like the scientist, and the other scientist that basically had lost everything. Because like when the reactor went down, like the whole obviously fallout and everything that's with that, they all basically lost everything. And it's like the story of like following those like survival horror. So following like the ghost and like the other things that have happened because of the fallout, which is really cool. And I guess talked to the producer today, and she was telling me a little bit about the game and like what they've done, like how they're like still releasing DLC, and they have plans to still release DLC to like 2024.
Something today.
Yeah, today was the next gen, and they're talking about even until like 2024, they're still going to be releasing more content for free for this game. And it's a psychological horror, so like some of the enemies are ghosts, which is great, but at the same time, there's also like very real ghosts. They're like real people you're interacting with. You have like a faction, you like pick up NPCs, you like try to like move all this stuff forward, but like at the same time,
your base.
Yeah, you're like trying to craft at your base and like move things forward. Like it's just a really cool experience. Definitely seemed like something I'd be really into, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll have an interview with them potentially before PAX is over. We've talked about it. We'll see if that happens. If you're listening, but we'll see that live on the stream. We'll let you guys know when that goes to happen. But it was just a really cool experience. And talking to the producer, like them telling us like their passion, why they're excited about the game, and as I'm watching someone else play it on the PS5 version they just released, like seeing that happen as well, which is really cool. So yeah, there's just like things like that, and there's a couple other games I checked out that weren't available to play yet. Like they were having some technical difficulties. No problem with the game. It was like literally the station was broken, and like they just couldn't plug it in. So that sucked. But I was really happy with that. I'll hopefully check that out and probably post some of that on our feed the rest of this week. But the last one's like the tabletop side that I had is there's what was it? It was like what was the developer's name? Because I was like super pumped about the developer's name. It was like I don't remember.
Are you talking about Dragoon?
Yeah, like the developer for that. It was like,
look it up.
I don't know. So the game called Dragoon. So like dragon with like 2 O's basically. And they had a bunch of different games, but that one was interesting because he was telling me like basically there's like 4 players and
Laid Waste Games. Okay.
What's that?
Yes, Laid Waste Games.
Yes, Laid Waste Games. And
because they had an awesome name.
They had like, so it's like 4 like dragons you play, and you're trying to like hoard the most gold, which you're a dragon, so why not? So like he apparently said like there's like players, like there's NPCs in the world that like will do things to like gather civilizations and gold, and like you can either like just take them and like make them yours, or you can just kill them and just take all the gold. And then that's like the premise of the game is trying to get like all of the gold, which sounds pretty cool. But they had different versions. You could buy like an actual gold version, like everything was like made out of like actual like the old school Monopoly style like game pieces where they're like hard like iron and gold. And then like, or you could just buy the regular like plastic pieces that come out with it too. So
Yeah.
but it was just really cool.
To be clear, I don't know who's more excited, him or me. We could talk about PAX forever, but we can't. Right before we move on, I would like to show off the shirt that eventually he should be able to make available on the store. And the back, you might have to tell me if I'm too high or too low.
You're
Can you
good.
twerk it?
Yeah. Can you give us a little booty shake? Shake it.
Oh,
yeah, I've been walking around. I don't have.
We're gonna have to work on your twerking skills, man.
I don't have it.
I showed the mic so.
Somewhere. I have a SAS Gaming mask. I don't know where it's at the moment because I think I put it in my bag. But anyway, I have one of those too.
Kelly, what else do we got to go on tonight?
Let's see. So you guys did mention you went to one after party. What do you have planned for the rest of the evening? And is it like some other conventions? I know Mike mentioned that he may or may not have been drinking all day long, which I'm very jealous of.
That's really weird because this is a dry convention. I don't know.
I know, totally dry.
That.
I don't know how would you been drinking all day? I mean,
I know, like
whatever.
They're like, yeah, like he actually said that. He was like, yeah, this guy drinks all day, and I'm like, actually, no, day drinker is definitely the one that drinks all day.
They do like to drink all day,
but I mean, hey, whatever.
Not all day every day.
Yeah,
just,
no, it's
weekends.
It's, all day every day.
It's controlled.
It's
all right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it is.
Totally
Stop
controlled.
Anytime she wants to.
Yeah.
Speaking of, there's a bar behind me. I should probably check it out in a second.
I mean, I'm empty.
Yeah.
So, one of the things we talked about today, or at least the kind of like the general consensus of the day, which is something that we could talk about regardless, which is like game journalism. And we started off with Alana Pierce talking about, her experience getting into the industry. And I also ended basically my panel day with another panel talking about the game journalist in the industry of like the questions that most people have, like, do you get paid? Like, do you actually put ratings or not put ratings? Like, what's your favorite rating? What was your worst rating? And to me, like, the general consensus was like, actually the biggest thing, which a lot of people don't realize, is that objective versus subjective. And literally, like everyone said, reviews are subjective. Like, it doesn't matter what you think or what you want it to be. The fact that you are literally writing something about a game, it's literally subjective. So like, there's no way, like she said, like one of the journalists that were up there, she's like, objective would be me like going, the name of the game is this, the release date is this, and the price is this. And the other journalist next to him or her, he goes, the problem is the viewer or the listener is going to take that and be subjective and go, why is the price $19.99?
Yeah.
Like, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, has nothing to do with her opinion. Like like, it's just objective. But like, even that, like, people are going to take things and go different with it.
Yes.
And it was very interesting to like listen to that throughout like the general tone of like all of the different panels that I watched today and listened to, was that it doesn't matter. Like, just put your content out there. Like, just get it written, let it be in stone.
Get it wrote.
Forget whatever. Yeah. People forget about it. Like, don't let people think about it.
Get a woke.
Get it wrote. Get woke. Get wrote. So, it was a cool thing to talk about. That's like, cool. And
Don't worry about negative reviews, guys. Just pump it out.
Well, that's what he said. Actually, one of the guys was talking about that because he said, like, he's like, I'll be honest with you, Red Dead Redemption 2 is trash. And the crowd's like, what? And he's like, no, it's fine. I hate this game, but I still rated it at 8.5 when I did a review because like I had to take out what I said and like what I think and actually review. He's like, the game is great. It's a really great game. They do a lot of things, blah, blah, blah. But he's like, ultimately, like, I personally hate this game. but I get that it's not for everybody, and it's not me.
Well,
but
it's very much like Inscription. I can identify and realize that Inscription is a fantastic game, and builds upon some things that were done in the past in some good evolutionary ways to make this fantastic experience, which I was miserable at. Like, I just disliked it so much, but I highly recommend it for people to check out at the same time.
Now, have you guys run into anybody that you've already met at other conventions, or anybody that we have interviewed?
We haven't. So a lot of the people we've interviewed before.
Well, I have, and I introduced you to him, which is Greg, the bartender.
That's not exactly.
Wait, Greg from How to Drink?
No, Greg, the bartender that we had.
It's a tradition that I go to this particular place. And Greg, the bartender, was still there.
I started to fangirl again there for a minute, and it was like,
sorry, I didn't want to set you off.
No, not him. But no,
not to discredit Greg, the bartender. I'm sure.
Yes, not to discredit Greg, the bartender. Fantastic. I'm sure he's amazing. I'm sure
I will say, shout out to Studio Kumio. He doesn't have his own YouTube channel. Shout out to Studio Kumio. He's been basically like Jimmy from Studio Kumio has been basically commenting on most of our posts today, and I actually messaged him separately. They're not here, obviously. They're in the West Coast. It's PAX West is way easier for them to attend. But he's obviously, if I was here, this is basically his sort of home area. And we had a discussion about Dunkies. If you guys ever heard of Dunkin' Donuts called Dunkies, it's like a Boston thing apparently.
Gotta get her Dunkies.
That's what I've heard. Feel free to comment and tell me I'm not right, but that's fine. But no, it was
go ahead and leave some awful comments on our Twitter.
Go ahead and just totally roast me.
Please. The only thing anybody gave you any shit for was the fact that you were kind of gatekeeping the ability to call it what you were calling it. You were essentially saying you got to be in Boston to call it this, and that's not how this works, right? It's a free country.
Well, I mean, you can call it whatever, but it's just Dunkies is what I've heard it as being referred to in Boston. And then I had some posts
Georgia only.
New York than there is in Mass. But whatever.
I've never heard it called Dunkies, even when I was in Massachusetts.
That's the point. Oh, well.
There you go. That's what I was looking for.
Massachusetts is a state. Boston is a smaller area.
Well, cool. But it's basically been our, like I said, day one PAX experience.
Awesome.
Obviously, we have more to come, and we're obviously not going to be doing the podcast every night, but we'll definitely take any things that we can actually film professionally, like we're going to do. We're going to put that up on our YouTube. And then if somehow bandwidth permits, we'll try to do some live Twitch streaming, maybe do some interviews if we can. I really doubt that's going to happen, just for the fact that I was having trouble posting on Instagram earlier just for my live story. But we'll see what happens. But no, it's been a great time. I really would suggest this for anybody who's not necessarily a video game fan, but just anybody that wants to be any part of the industry. This is not just an event for the people who are playing the games, but people who are just wanting to be generally around that culture. There's just so many different avenues and different things to learn here. And it's been
more to the point, want to be in the industry. This is a fantastic place to go if you want to be in the industry.
Yeah. I do have one more question. How many
Sorry, we don't have any more time.
Here
we are. Lots. We're here. Let's do it.
This man has handed out lots of sass fish today. Let me tell you.
Yeah, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm damn, it's the first day. I only have 10 left or something. I don't know, probably a little bit more than that. But yeah, it's been great. I have a lot of business cards left, and we'll obviously hand those out as needed. The main thing is not trying to be pushy. I'm not trying to sell everybody on it. I want to have an actual conversation with you, and if it leads into, hey, we have a podcast and you'll listen to it, great. If it doesn't, and you just want to tell me about your business, great. I'll do that too, because I met a YouTuber today too. He was telling me about his stuff and showed me his video. I was like, damn, that's really good. Dude, that's really professional. He's
awesome.
Thank you. I've been working on this for months. And I was like, dude, that's awesome.
Awesome.
Unrelated, but Kelly, was that a K-Flay sticker?
I have two actually. One's there, and then I'm afraid of the internet.
Solid.
Yeah, I actually bought when she came to Atlanta a couple months ago. I had been waiting literally a year to go to this show. I walked up and I bought a hoodie, and I was like, "Are those stickers?" They were like, yeah. And I was like, those are going to look so good on my water
Her
bottle.
music is on point. So
She is
sick.
fucking amazing. I love
Sorry
her.
for the sidetrack. I saw that sticker. I
No.
was like, oh hell yeah.
Hey,
But, I mean, PAX
anytime.
looks like a good time. I mean,
Yeah, I'm a little jelly, guys. You're having a blasty blast, but I think you should run out and like find a rave or something to go to.
I mean, I don't think this is like Dragon Con in that sense. Like, I think there's some after parties going on in the area, but it's not so much like that. That at least what's published on the internet for like people who are visiting like us know.
Well, we
it seems
literally
more
there's
businessy.
Yeah.
no.
Well,
It's not business.
Not necessarily. Yeah.
It's consumery. It's
more
very
businessy.
consumer orientated. It's very consumer orientated, not business orientated. In fact, until
What if I can get the bartender over here?
Until 10 or 11 or 12 tonight, they'll have multiple bands that are going on the main stage across the street. So we'll probably go over there and check that out.
Cool.
And usually most of those bands are game-ish related for the most part.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. So
Bruno,
I know this is probably going to seem weird, being like we typically go for like almost 2 hours. We talk about a lot of news. We go to like a segment, and then we go to like games. But today's actually pretty short. Like we really just wanted to kind of give an update of PAX, kind of talk about our experience first day, and obviously Twitter, Instagram. Those are the ways to get a hold of us if you do see us or just have questions about what's going on, or questions for us to ask some of the developers that are here that you may find that you want to have questions about. We're down to do that, but it's a little different today. I just wanted to basically we wanted to join, talk to you guys, answer your questions, obviously, and also answer anybody else. But that's basically today's episode. Like we just wanted to kind of get this out there firsthand, and hopefully we'll get some new stuff over the weekend that we can actually post and share with you guys.
Cool.
Thanks for being there and giving us the download or the lowdown.
For getting smashed.
Yeah,
dude, for sure. I'm gonna hit this bar right here in a second. Like it's gonna be great.
You enjoy yourself.
They need refills, so we need to go.
Yeah,
play some games.
My drink is empty.
Yeah.
Come back. Recommend me what to buy.
Yeah, for sure.
If you have further questions about PAX, if you have further questions about us, or you just want to comment at all, or even you want to contact us to be on the show, you can reach us at goa@sasgaming.com. That's goa@sasgaming.com. Reach out to us. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, I mean, we also have a Patreon, patreon.com/sasgaming, or just sasgaming.com. Check us out, and we have different things we post and yada yada yada. But
and
until next time.
For our Patreons who we usually include the intermission, we'll find something creative to substitute it with for this week. So, I mean I.
I have an idea. I don't want to say it out loud because that may be copyrighted. But I'll give you my idea.
Okay. Sounds good.
Hey, until next time, you guys be easy. Thanks again, all you sassy gamers out there listening to us. It's been a pleasure. And if you see us around here, we have stickers available for now until they run out. So if not, we'll see you guys around. Until next time, see ya.